Hi and welcome back to my channel. I hope you've all had a happy new year, and this is the start of 2025. Gosh, where has time gone? It's crazy. Now today I'm just doing catch-up projects over this Christmas New Year break. I want to repair this. I want to finish my Outback Ocean to Outback project, and I want to finish my Flower Power Doily journal. So there are a few projects that I've wanted really to get done. Now with this is an actual doily, a vintage doily keeper, and I found it at the Opshop for $3. Isn't that amazing? I just love the stitching on here and the little flowers. I actually found a doily with these same patterned flowers on it, which was pretty cool, and I might store it in here. That would be really lovely to store in there. So when I found this, it was damaged on the outside, like the cording was coming undone, and it's a little bit stained, but I mean, for its age it's okay, and I'm not going to clean it or anything, because I don't know if I tried to clean that, whether it could stain worse. So it'll be kept like this. But I've been repairing the cording, and like I said, the cording was coming off. It was only sewn very with a very small stitch around the edge. And what I've done, I've done this one. What I have done to it is keep it in the same, like I wanted to keep the same cording on there. So I've just picked out a really fine pearl cotton out of my stash. And this is where all these Opshop cottons and things come in so handy, because this was just the perfect match for it. And I've just done a blanket stitch around it. Now I had to catch you have to catch the front and the back to sort of get it to stay on there properly. I tried a fine thread and doing the same thing, but because the edge fabric, some of the spots were just a bit old, they weren't catching well. So I did a blanket stitch around here, and I think it looks nice. I think it's kept its integrity, and it's a very similar color to what was on there. So that's how I'm repairing this. So I've finished this one, and it came up quite nice. It's some sort of card in there, or board card, some sort of thick cardboard, and then I wanted to start on this one. This one's got a pink on the inside, but I don't think it'll matter if I do keep going with the lilac color. So to hide my thread, what I've done, I'm coming in here like quite a bit away from where I want to start, and I've just got these sewing clips on it just to keep the cording where I want it, and I'm not putting a knot in it. Okay, I'm just going to just hide that thread just inside the fabric like that, and then I'll do a stitch, and I'll make sure I catch the front and the back here, and then I'll start doing a blanket stitch around here. So I'm just going to go back like that, and then start that blanket stitch, and that will anchor that thread down, that starting thread down. Okay, and then I don't have any knots here where you can see. So what I'm going to do is just go around and pick up, make sure I pick up the front and the back, and do that blanket stitch. And in a couple of spots here the fabric was quite worn. But I just couldn't believe it when I seen this in the Opshop. I was like, oh, I'd love to find a doily keeper one day, a vintage doily keeper. I have seen some that are wooden. They're wooden front and back, and what they did back in the day was just store their doilies flat in them. And see, it doesn't look out of place. So I'm just going to continue around here to repair this, and I think I'll be happy with that then. So I hope you've all had a great Christmas and New Year period. It's been, for us, it was quite busy going up on the coast. And as you can imagine, having a 95-year-old dad, or is he 94 or 4? I think he's turning 95. It was quite demanding. Quite demanding to, not demanding in a bad way, but since Mum died, he gets quite lonely, and so it was a constant to be there for him and talk to him, you know. And my older brother came down Christmas Day, and I was catching up with him, and Dad got really upset because no one was talking to him, and just that sort of thing. That's it can get quite I think it can get quite emotionally draining when you need to do that constantly. And he's at the stage now where he's talking about his past a lot, and just wanting to go and be with Mum, and it gets quite hard to I know Dave and me come home pretty exhausted from it, because he doesn't have any air conditioning in his house either. He won't put it on. I don't know why. And we had 2 40-degree days up there with 100% humidity, and it was just it was horrendous. I don't know how he does it, and it really worries me. I tried to convince him to get even just a room air conditioner, one for just his room. But you know, sometimes you just can't convince old people of things. You just can't. It's so, oh gosh, something that we've struggled with. Our family has struggled with, to try and just do the best, you know, for them. No, I've got to take these off, they're making a lot of noise. Yeah, so we came back pretty tired and pretty spent mentally from it, although it was lovely to catch up, because I hadn't seen Dad. I mean, we went up just recently, but I hadn't spent a whole lot of time with Dad since the funeral, so it was nice to just spend some time with him. But he hasn't always been a very easy father in the past, put it that way, and he has a lot of regrets, and you know, I've made my peace with him. I made my peace a long time ago with him, and there's a lot in my family that haven't, and he is sort of living in those consequences at the moment, but yeah, he does have a lot of regrets. Mum was the glue in our family. Dad was the provider and the disciplinaire, if you can say that, which wasn't always done right, but done to the best of what he could do. Okay, I've got a little patch there. I'm just going to go around this little patch and try and not really fix it, but like there's a little piece of fabric that's come off there, but I'm just gonna go past it because I just want to get this cording back attached to it. That was the main focus on repairing this. And you can see some of the stitches there, but I don't mind that. And that's what it looks like on the other side. So at least it'll be all together and functional. Then I can put some doilies in it and put it in my vintage collection. Now, with the finishing this off, all I'm going to do is just catch that stitch at the top. So I've caught that, and then I'm going to go back under the in the fabric. I'll just try and thread that back up, and I'm not going to put any knots anywhere. This is what I wanted to try and avoid, just to get it looking good. Okay, and I'm just going to go back under the fabric again and come out somewhere else and then cut it off. And that will stay secure enough. And then we'll start again. So I'm not going to put any knots in it to start again. I am going to just come back into the fabric and come out at that last blanket stitch. So I will hide that tail just in the fabric like that. Okay, and then I will do one little stitch just to hold that in, and that's held in now, so there's no knots or anything. And then I'm just going to continue with the blanket stitch, just making sure I catch the other side as I go. And as I'm stitching this, I'm just thinking about who may have had this. It's interesting to sort of just think of the past and the doilies they stored in it and what they were used for. I know when I was with my dad, he talked a lot about the past and told me some stories I hadn't heard before, so that was nice. And talked about our family tree, and I found out that a lot of the kids that I went to school with, I was related to them. That is just so bizarre. I didn't know at the time. None of us knew until he started doing his family tree and realised the extent of how many cousins we had in the valley, in the Hastings Valley. So that was quite interesting and quite scary at the same time, because some of the people's names that were in our family tree, they weren't very nice at school. But anyway, that's how it goes, doesn't it? And he told us about how my great-great-grandfather actually was came from, well, he settled in Melbourne in, oh gosh, a long time ago, and he had an onion farm near Werribee in Melbourne. And yeah, he was telling us all about him and where he was buried now, and that sort of thing. So that was all interesting. I mean, we're near Melbourne now. He said, "Oh, you want to try and get down and see the grave," and he actually lived just not far from the cemetery. So, yeah, the house. He said the old house, is still there and everything. So, one of my older brothers did the family tree, and they went and seen it and took photos of it. So that was interesting. Yeah, so yeah, he did a lot of talking about the past, and I sort of wonder sometimes whether his mind is is failing a little, because he started talking about pounds and pence, and everything he talked about with money, to do with money, had was was in pounds, or the old currency, which was a long time ago. A long time ago. Yeah, told us some stories about Mum when she was younger. He told us how they met and all that sort of thing, which was nice. And he talks about Mum a lot. He's got a photo of Mum next to his bed that he talks to each night, and yeah, but it wasn't always easy. It wasn't always easy. What have I got here? Not. I've got my older sister coming to see, or coming to the area on the weekend, so I'll get to see her, which will be really lovely. I haven't seen her for a while. So yeah, it was hard. It was hard leaving. It was like you want to leave, but it was hard to leave because Dad was, he he was upset, and he was like, "Oh, I wish you lived closer," and but I lived closer for years. I lived closer for years, and I don't think he really appreciated that at the time. It was really hard to get on with Dad when I was younger. And there was many times when I know that we weren't appreciated, and so we just didn't visit that much, And now he's older, and it's hard. And the family changes as you get older, and you all marry someone different, and everything changes. And like I said, Mum was the glue that held our family together, and when she passed, things changed as well. So that's just how it goes. I mean, I've done a lot of work to forgive Dad and to just move on. A lot of work in the background. So he rings me a bit now. He never rang me. All my life he never rang me. It's only just been recently too I've heard him say I love you, so there's been a lot of reflecting going on in his life. A lot of reflecting. So I'm going to continue on all the way. I've started here and I'm up to here, so I'll continue on all the way around, and I'll come back when I'm finished and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, I've finished doing the blanket stitch around both of these circles, and I think I like how it's come up. It's just a nice subtle colour, like the edge cord. But then I sort of didn't like it just left plain, and so I picked this colour that matches the word, and what I've done is put a little frilly edge on it, and I think that looks a lot better. It just dresses it up just a little bit, and it makes it, it doesn't take the integrity away from it, I don't think. So I'll show you what stitch I did to put this little frilled edge on that. So that's the back one finished, and then I've got to come over and start the front. So what I did, I got a thicker pearl thread and a long needle that's the same width all the way along, and I'm going to come in the back. So I'm still trying to hide my this way, sorry, I'm still trying to hide my ends, so I'm just going back in through the back, and I'm going to come up to the top of the cord. So I'm just going to put that in so it just sneaks in past the fabric so you can't see it. Do a little catching stitch, get everything out of the way. Don't know if you got tangled. Just untangle it all, and I'm just going to catch that first stitch. Okay, and that's anchored it off for me, and then the end is hidden in the fabric. Now what I'm going to do, I'll just try and get all those tangles out of that. Alright, so if you see that each of these what I call blanket stitches has got a bar along the top, so I'm going to go under that bar, under that stitch there that goes along the top, and I'm going to bring my thread around and do a little bit like a bullion knot. Okay, I'm going to wind it round 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm just going to put my thumb onto those stitches that I've wound around and pull it up, and it's going to give me just a tiny little gathered little stitch here that when you finish it looks like a little scallop stitch. So back into the top bar of that blanket stitch and wrap it around 5 times. Hold on to those stitches, give it a little snug pull, and then I'm going to do that all the way around, and it's going to give me like I said, like a little faux scallop stitch. If you can see that there, these little scallops, and I wanted to keep it so it looked fairly vintage still. I wasn't real sure whether to crochet it, and I haven't done fine crochet for a long time, so I looked up a couple of knotting stitches, but I'm not sure what this one was called because I sort of just made it up. I'm sure it's got a name, but to me it's a little bit like doing a bullion stitch. Okay, you're going to put your needle through there and then go round it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Put your thumb on those stitches that have that are sitting around the needle, because sometimes they get caught, and this is a good example. If it gets caught and you're left with all this bunched up here, I'll show you how to undo it. Get in and find that original loop and just go back 5 times, back the other way, and it'll undo it for you. Without too much heartache. So I'll just try and take it back through there as well. Okay, and then I'm going to finish that stitch. Like that. And every now and then you're going to have to just drop your needle and put your finger on the thread and untangle it. Just make it spin back the other way. So this was my idea, just to get some nice little frilly edge around it, without making it look too modern. I wanted to keep it looking vintage. And these are pearl threads that I found at the Opshop. And when you flip it over like this, you're going to see then a nice little frilly edge on the edge of all the way around on this doily keeper. Okay, so I'll just do a couple more with you, and then we'll jump to where I'm finished, almost finished. So I'm just going to go into the top of this blanket stitch, going along here. Give it a nice little tug. And you'll end up with all these little pretty, like bullion knots all the way around it. Gosh, I did it again. So just find that original loop that you were going through, if it knots up like that, and go back the opposite way 5 times to undo it. Okay, we've got that undone. Go into the top of that stitch. Keep your finger on those little loops around the needle. Give a little tight little tug. Sometimes you can recover a stitch. And that's why you need a needle that's the same width all the way along. If you've got one that's got a really big eye, you'll struggle to get all those the needle through those loops. So just don't wrap your thread on too tightly either. I'll just do it one more time. So you go into the top of the blanket stitch, and then you wrap around it 5 times. You could wrap around more if you wanted. Put your thumb over those loops and then pull it through, and then give it a nice little tug. Okay, and you're going to be left with some beautiful little scallop knots all the way around. And I think it's keeping in that vintage sort of feel with this. So I'll come back when I've finished all the way around this one, and I'll show you the finished doily keeper. Okay, so here is my finished doily keeper, and you can see now that it's just added this really cute little what do you call it, little knotted edge all around it, which I really like. Now it's just given it that little pop of colour, and it's kept the integrity of something that looks vintage, and I just love it. So that's what the inside looks like. You can see the colour now on both of them, and it's just taken that really plain look off the edge. It just had this cording around the edge, and I like how it's bringing this colour in with the colour of the word on there. And I did find the other doily. There's the other doily with the same type of little flower print. Not print, but the little stitching, flower stitching. So you would put your doily in the doily keeper. Now if anyone knows how this might have been closed up, it just had a bow on one, on the front one, and then a loop on the back one, and I'm not real sure how it went together. When I bought it from the Opshop, it had one of those plastic label ties on it to hold it together. So if you have a suggestion how that may have it may have stayed together, or it may not have, I just don't know. I don't know a whole lot about these doily keepers, but if you have a suggestion, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. So that's my repaired doily keeper, and I just love it. Love it. It was $3 from the Opshop, and it just needed a little bit of tidying up and some stitching, and I have it all repaired, which is just beautiful. Alright, so that's one job down. And the next job down is to finish my Ocean to Outback. Now this is a little sewing box that I got from the Opshop. It's got all some bits and pieces in here that I've been using on this project, and I decided to, because the top of it was quite damaged, I decided to recover it, and I called it my Ocean to Outback because I've started at the ocean here and I'm going to the outback. And this last flower that I put on was a pig face, and that was done with that nylon knitting yarn, you know, that everyone makes coat hangers with, or they don't now but used to, and I think it came up really pretty. So on here I want to put some wattle and some gum blossoms in this area, and then I'm going to it's got like a little sewn edge around it just to show me where it is, and I want to put it on there and put some gimp braid all the way around to finish it off, and I need to put a little clasp on it too. So that is my next job, to finish this slow stitching new little top for this sewing box. Right, so I hope you've enjoyed looking at that today and how I repaired my little doily keeper. I hope you're keeping well, and you tell me what's on your craft table over these Christmas holiday break. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you, and you can also pop into our Facebook group. I'll have the links below for that, and you can put some pictures up there of what you're doing over the holidays, and if you've been to the Opshop, or some of what you're doing with your secondhand finds. Whatever you find, material, craft supplies, whatever, and show us what you've made with it. I'd love to see those. Right, take care, and if you're new here, I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my channel. Press like, shares, leave me comments, all that sort of stuff. It really helps my channel to no end, and I appreciate everyone who has done that for me lately. And I will see you soon for a new make. Bye.